bringing you inside the USL Championship and League One.
Segmer's got there. Marquinhos! He's been knocking on the door. He knocks it down.
Diving into all the biggest stories and top headlines.
You are ripping and roaring today.
This is USL All Access.
It's almost impossible to recreate that level of magic.
With Mike Watts and Devon Kerr on SiriusXM FC.
Welcome, everyone. It's a new edition of USL All Access on this Tuesday evening. Mike Watts, Devon Kerr, Joe Malfa in spirit. Emmett McConnell's at the controls. Devon is shadow boxing, and I'm just, letting the hands of life knock me down. But I'm back up. Devon, a ton to talk about this week. There is no interview because we're 2 weeks left in the season. Things need to be decided. Louisville wins the Players Shield. Tulsa locks up the number 1. Charleston locks up the number 2. There's so much to chat about. Let's do this thing, shall we?
How was walking the cat? I'm doing great, man, but I got to know because I'm going to pick your brain about the trip that was. How was walking the cat? We all missed you. Meow. And how was Disney, my friend?
If people are watching on YouTube, I think they just realized that you made the cat noise.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Great job. With the there you go. No, it was great. Tigger, great cat.
Character breakfast?
Oh yeah. Little guy loved Piglet.
Favorite Disney character for the little guy and for yourself?
I mean, it probably is Piglet. I mean, just what an adorable. I mean, look, it's got to be confusing for a 5-month-old to run into a giant pink pig.
Is the Piglet shout a shot at our group chat with our producer? By the way, am I catching a stray right now?
No chance. No chance. No chance.
Are any of our group chats ever going to make it onto air? And if so, would we keep our jobs after the fact?
Yeah, the latter is the reason for the former.
Love it. Let's ride. Louisville again.
Yep.
Started us off.
Yeah. Congratulations, I guess, are in order. Louisville wins the Players Shield back-to-back. Hasn't happened before. May not happen again. 1-0 win against Miami does the job. Brian Ownby gets the winner in the 88th minute. That's the captain coming off a major leg injury last year, which carried into much of this year. 3 things that sort of hit me right off the bat. They did it with a clean sheet, which has been their modus operandi the entire year. We are not going to win consistently 3-4 goals and see if that's enough. That wasn't prudent. And here they are in a great position. I'll mention defensively in a moment. They did it late. This was not their best performance by their own admission. It may have not been their standard, but they hung in, won the game at the end. Par for the course. That's the Louisvillian way, even when it's not going your direction. And then they did it with a guy who worked his ass off for a year to get back on the field. And if you look at the number of injuries they've suffered, no one in the championship is pulling out a box of Kleenex to cry over Louisville's spilt milk. Nobody.
No.
Right? They've got a ton of depth. There were a lot of moments this year that they were able to utilize that depth to remain a hugely talented outfit while also having to put a second goalkeeper on the bench. So, they utilized some of their young players and made it work at times. There are a lot of teams that would have been crushed by it. Louisville simply needed to maintain the standard and did. And Brian coming back coincides with Philip Goodrum getting back. He was injured for a period of time. You brought in Cameron Lancaster to try and fill out, but you were missing Gleedle for seemingly half the season. Your center back position was ravaged by injuries over the last couple months, and you've managed with a guy like Josh Jones, who's come on strong as the year has gone along. They clinched the Shield with 1 loss. It was against North Carolina, and it was like 4 months ago. They are unbeaten at home. They have allowed 5 fewer goals than any team in the league, Sacramento, 10 fewer than anybody else. They literally achieved, Devon, everything they set out to achieve to this point in the year, which is to say all the quotes post-game, are we're not done yet.
Yeah.
And that's Louisville.
So a lot to take in. I love everything that you just put up, by the way. I don't want to start with what you just capped it with because I want to have some fireworks at the end too. I'll be selfish. That's fine. I want to go back to the depth conversation for a second because people at home are going to go, oh, well, it's Louisville and they're deep and they've got more quality than anybody else in the roster. Sure. The top to middle portion of that roster, I would agree with. But to your point about goalkeeping, not issues, but rotation and the necessity of times, about bringing a player like Josh Jones or a Days into the mix or an academy player, that's about coaching. That's not about quality of player. That's not taking anything away from those people, and I'm not throwing everybody into it, but that's about the recognition of talent, one, the development of it, two, not in that game, but behind the scenes through all the reps that go through it, to then three, establish trust between the player and the manager. So to your point, Mike, in times of need, you can lean on those players, okay? Unreal job done in that sense. I need to go back to the beginning of where you started so that Nicholas Murray doesn't have a heart attack back at home, back-to-back for Orlando City in 11 and 12. So let's get that out of the way. I did, however, have an interesting conversation with a front office person recently who got me to thinking about this and what Louisville have done and what someone else is doing in the league. And it's kind of about the modern era and how we view it. We always reference the 2011 mark as the modern era, right? I've noticed that in passing comments, and in this one, a direct convo, people leaning a little bit further into the future for the removal of two teams from the conversation, their departure in MLS Next Pro, and how much more difficult the league has been since then. Yes, not fully taking shape until, 2 seasons ago now, but how, and you and I can agree on this, the quality of what Louisville have done compared to Phoenix in 19, FC Cincinnati in 2018, and we aren't taking anything away from those teams, or Red Bull of 16, and so on and so forth. The water is so much more difficult to navigate because of the landmines and the wreckage and everything that you have to go through compared to those years because the quality of opponent has so drastically increased. That's not a stretch. That's a fact.
But by the time the two teams left, something like 9 of the bottom 11 in the league were the two teams.
Dude, how many times would you and I have conversations with coaches and they would be like, off the record, this is a 6-point wink? Because you're in the Western Conference and you're playing Los Dos and you're playing, I don't know, who's another 2 team out there? Help me.
Sounders.
Sure, great. S2. I mean, S2, definitely. And yes, they could pick you off, and yes, there was talent and development, but like those were viewed as free points. That ain't the case anymore, right? You are getting beaten up every single week. And yet Louisville has checked every single box. I went back and looked, by the way, at the run that they're on right now, Mike. This team, Louisville City, 7-game win streak, right? There are still 2 games to play. We don't know what that's going to be. So for reference, I went back and looked at, prior to the 2 final games in the season, the 7-game stretch prior to those final 2. This is the best they've ever done in the history of the organization. 7 straight wins. The next best prior, 2020. They went 6-0-1 to finish the year. The worst they've ever done, by the way, is 3 wins. They've never had a losing stretch during that run. I don't know what else they can do, except to your point, and here's the capper, win a title. And, you know, the same person I was talking to, and I said, listen, it's insane sometimes about going back to Louisville and going back to Charleston. We're going to get to them in a second because I'm going to give them their credit too. But, like, the class that they've created is not in this league anymore. And for reference point, people are like, oh, you can talk about other teams. We are going to talk about other teams. But for reference point, from 5 down to 12 in the Western Conference, we gave an example of this 2 weeks in a row. That's 8 teams. Over the last 5 weeks, that's 40 games. There's 6 wins and 20 losses. If you go in the last 3 weeks between those 8 teams, there's 24 games. There's 14 losses and 3 wins. And the reason I say that isn't because they're beating the crap out of each other. It's because of the ridiculous standard set by Louisville City in the East. That regardless of circumstance and injury and poor performance and game-winning goal or running away by 5, this team just continues to step it up and knock it out of the park. Sean Tosh said it last week. We got to win a title. They want to win a title. It's unreal, man. It is. You and I have been around this a long period of time. Louisville have the ability, points per game, to be the best team in the history of this league in the regular season, and they deserve it, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm. So congratulations to Louisville. Still 2 games left in their season, and then they'll open up the playoffs. Look against an 8 seed that in the past they've typically overwhelmed. Many tend to get a little nervy against 8 seeds. That hasn't really been the case in the Eastern Conference of late. Dev, let's chat about the West here. Number 1 seed is Tulsa. Tulsa secure it with a 2-0 win against San Antonio. Taylor Calhara scores again. Lamar Batista grabs one in the 75th. They are outshot in this game 11-19, which does not matter for them. They hold the tiebreaker, 9 points up, 3 to go on Sacramento, so number 1. No one wants to go there. It is an extremely difficult venue to play in.
Remember when I made that comment about Capelli in Rochester years ago?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to go to Rochester. I got vilified beyond belief. There's a reason for that, because they're so good.
Yes, it has nothing to do with the city of Tulsa. Credit to the Crafts, right? I mean, a big element of that. This started 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Luke has done an amazing job. There is no game that they're out of, and they play really intelligent, game-specific football. They do exactly what's necessary to win games.
Yeah, versus their opponent.
Over 30 games, very impressive.
Scouting's perfect. You're spot on, Mike. The build that started with Sam Dorr and Blair Gavin has evolved. Mario Sanchez came over from Louisville. Luke followed. Mario in the front office. Luke onto the sideline. Adaptability is probably the word that I would best use, because of I don't think they have every answer going into a game, but they find it, because we've seen them be outshot and outpassed and outclassed in games and find the game winner from a set piece, or score an early goal and then coast, and the comebacks. And they seem to have an answer for everything. They are also really good from the get-go. A team that was really rigid in nature tactically early on in the season, now he gives them more freedom. There's more commitment to the front line, better combination play. Taylor Calhara, I know we've talked about him a couple times, but has really come into his own as a leader for me within the group. The spirited nature of what he helps drive forward, also defensively. And it's a team that is going to be feared. They've hit, this goes back last week, but hit 50 points for the first time in the history of their organization. And as I'm looking at the table now on Tuesday evening, it looks as though there's not really anyone behind them who has an interest of chasing them down. And I mean that in the postseason, so that we're clear. Obviously, they clinched the West. Sac still, and we're going to get to them in defending and blah, 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 but Sac is still in there. I believe they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I do like the direction that New Mexico United is headed, but outside of them, Tulsa has started to turn the page a little bit. It felt like survival for a window, whereas now they're thriving. They're winning games and outplaying their opponent. I saw more guys jumping into the box there and some of their movements coming forward against San Antonio than I've seen in weeks. And I love that. I love that. It's not a team that's holding on. They're pushing everybody off of them and saying, come on, see if you want to get on our back. It's not going to happen. Very impressive.
Also, Taylor Calhara, and I know there's pens involved, right? But we give a little bit of credit for just where did he come from? 13 goals is 4th in the league.
Do I get any sort of shout for this early on in the season when I called him out or no? I need something here.
I'm kind of offering you that.
It's back-ended. The cat would have meowed at me. I'm just saying. Disney changed you. Disney
Yeah.
changed you.
I'm just saying I'm throwing out a line for it. This is teeing up your analyst to make them look intelligent. I'm just saying.
There's your first mistake. I can't make myself look intelligent.
It's an up and down proposition. Before we go to break, this news came out last week. There's been a lot of conjecture, and frankly, I give a ton of credit. Like the USL show, I saw some rando saying you should be reporting rumors. Don't report rumors. Report facts. So with the Bob Lilly situation in Pittsburgh, we will stay in that vein of here's what's factual, because reporting rumors is irresponsible. This is what Pittsburgh put out. I believe it was Tuesday after the show was recorded last week. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds head coach Bob Lilly has been placed on administrative leave. Assistant coach Rob Vincent will serve as acting head coach effective immediately. The club will not have any further comment at this time. Dev, I don't have any further information at this point. Obviously, everyone's hearing some form of conjecture. It could have been this. It must have been that.
Yeah.
What can you add to that situation?
I'm going to talk about the situation and then just expand on the rest of the season for them. I think you need to read between the lines here because Bob Lilly is still the head coach of this team. Acting head coach, Rob stepping in. I can confirm directly with the organization, Bob Lilly is still the head coach of this team. There is a process that is playing out behind the scenes, and everybody will be made privy as to what that is. I'm not trying to get fired. I'm not dying on this hill. And Mike, understanding information that has been shared as well, we're going to be respectful of that process because there is some speculation in everybody's department. Let the process play out. It's not interim, it's acting. On the backside of this, a lot of white noise that has surrounded this team this season, but also in the past couple of weeks. The incident at Hartford, right? Dear Lord, not a fun one. I hate the fact that just crawled back into my head, by the way. That was disgusting that we had to talk about that to begin with. There's this situation now. A couple of weeks in a row, the fans, nonstop, by the way, at least a small section of you, that may be happy that this is going on, which is a disgrace as well.
And I don't think they're happy that there's an administrative process going on about Bob. It's that they wanted Bob out and that this could be that pathway.
Sure.
That's...
As we're talking right now, Pittsburgh still have the ability to be in a top 4 position. As we're talking right now, and the final matches that are remaining in this season, both of which are against Western Conference opponents. Pittsburgh hasn't lost a Western Conference game since May, and they've only lost 2 this season. They have destroyed their Western Conference opponents, which leads me to believe a game both on the road and at home, Monterey and Phoenix Rising, and this momentum that they've established, Pittsburgh's got to feel pretty good about their run-in, even though that is going on behind the scenes with Bob Lilly. This team's still a playoff team. They have the ability to get into a top 4 position. And all you nitwits at home, because this is what it's about, you still have the ability to put a star above the crest. So pay attention right now, because all of that stuff is important. And we're going to need growth with whatever comes out of this. But if you're a fan of this team and you respect those players, support them and give them the ammunition that they need down the stretch to be able to chase a title. Because at the end of the day, you want to preach Hound 10 and all that stuff, prove it right now. There's a lot going on around the club, but the only thing that matters right now that you can have an impact on is the next 90 minutes and the 90 after that with the 11 on the field and whomever is coming off the bench to help get this team into the right spot come postseason time.
All right. As we get more information on that news story, we'll make it clear, as Devin mentioned, from the club remains Rob Vincent, acting head coach, not interim. Bob Lilly remains head coach, and they continue that administrative process. All right, when we come back, we're going to go conference by conference and just break down where we're at. There's only 2 games left in the championship season for most. Handful of teams have a game in hand, which is going to make the next week and a half very interesting as we head up to Decision Day in USL. We're back with more on USL All Access after this.
Let's get back to USL All Access on SiriusXM FC with Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
Welcome back, everyone. It's USL All Access Tuesday night. Miss a part of the show. It is unfortunately available on the USL YouTube page, but also available on the SiriusXM app, which is great. Mike, Devon, how about we talk about the East? Again, 2 weeks left. There are some teams. Really, it's the West where things get interesting with the games in hand remaining. Charleston, they're set. They are the 2 seed. We mentioned Louisville at the top of the show as the 1. Charleston unloaded on Colorado Springs. This game got stopped at halftime, restarted later in front of a fairly sparse crowd after that abandonment. 5-0. Malloy, Myers, Icaza, Dos Santos, and even Ortiz got a goal. They're up 3-0 in 25 minutes. All right, Charleston's ready. If you wondered what it would be like if they sat there like, well, can't get to 1, can't fall to 3, what are we going to do now? Like, this is Ben in a nutshell, just like nuking Colorado Springs. Dev, as always, the Battery are there at the end.
All right, so number one, I would love to have been a fly in the room for this refereeing crew and figured out exactly why you played this game to begin with. I don't understand why in a 5-minute span, like, you decide to stop it at halftime at 1-0. That's not a knock on Colorado Springs at the Battery. Oh, the field's unplayable. But then you replace the entire refereeing crew. Like, play the whole game over. You replace the whole crew. Why did we start? Why did we stop it in that moment? I'd really like to see the game report. Because you obviously pissed some people off in Charleston. And it wasn't the fans who were unable to attend based upon timing and blah, blah, blah. Could have been 6 at halftime, 10 throughout the game. Sloppy defending, poor decision-making coming off the back line, bad goalkeeping overall for Colorado Springs. I don't necessarily know if it would have mattered if they played well because of how good Charleston were. Set pieces, unreal. The miss by Aaron Malloy off the first goal, his side volley into the corner, dude. Woo! That's not postseason form. That's Hall of Fame form. They attacked outside in, combination play atop the 18, tempo down underneath, long balls into the gaps. They were unreal. I felt bad for Colorado Springs, given the fact that I still think Colorado Springs could be one of the more dangerous teams in the Western Conference. But the Charleston Battery, man, and we alluded to this in the first segment, it is crazy sometimes to think about the quality that Louisville put out. It is also ridiculous to me to think that we are almost 3 seasons removed from the worst season the Charleston Battery have ever experienced in the history of this league in 2022. Something like 6 wins. You know, they finished that year, Mike, at 0.75 points per game.
But Devin, what happened after that?
Yeah, Lee Cohen came in and brought Ben Pierman with him, and then 1.37 points per game on average. Better after 0.75. That's an absolute joke. That's some coach's career right there, averaging over 2 now. And over 3 seasons, as we are talking now, 181 points cumulative. It trails only Louisville City, who have 195. I've got some trivia for Mike Watts in a second as to who else trails behind. They have, too, added on a smaller budget and a less dense roster, so much quality since 23 and the team that made it to the final, falling just short to Phoenix Rising. They feel very balanced as well. They're getting healthy. They're playing with confidence. I know we constantly give credit to both of these organizations, but truly, they are in another class. 26 points separates, if we go back to the cumulative number, 26 points separates the Charleston Battery from the next closest team in cumulative points over the last 3 years. Who's that next closest team, Mike?
Show me New Mexico.
Incorrect. We're talking about the Eastern Conference. Sorry.
Oh, I thought we were talking the whole.
That's my fault. That's my fault. I was just staying in the Eastern Conference.
Pittsburgh.
Bingo. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Any guesses as to who is next on that
This
list?
is only the East.
Only the East. They are another 12 behind at 143. Incorrect. It would be the one, the only, the Tampa Bay Rowdies.
Even after this year?
Even after this year. Even after last year, to be fair. The drop-off that was. I almost cursed there, by the way. Almost cursed. By the way, the separation between Pittsburgh and Louisville, yeah, that is 40 points. 195 to 155. 40 points!
40 points.
40 points!
All right, let's chat about the rest of these, shall we?
Is there a better Is there a better GM in the league than Lee Cohen? GM president?
It's hard to,
president and GM. Just call him Guru right now.
I mean, it's the second time he's done this, right? Because if you look back at what the Rowdies were under Stu Campbell and like trying to get that thing on track, brought in Neil and flipped the whole thing around. You come to Charleston, team's bottom of the table, you flip them around.
You know, the Tampa Bay Rowdies missed the playoffs. It's the last time since 2018.
Yeah.
That 17 team was an ode to the oncoming Brendan Burke with Marcel Schaefer.
No, it was an ode to the what's the elderly association?
The Elderly Association.
Yeah, an association of
AARP
people. Yes. AARP. Thank you. That's what it was an ode to. Elderly folk.
Georgie Christoph is rolling over in his non-existent grave right now somewhere.
No, he's rolling over next to a cup of tapioca, and that's fine. It's completely fine.
Neil Collins just spin kicked you to the trachea. Iron Brew for the lads. Everybody, liquid bubbly. They need some in the West. Let's go.
If they could turn Iron Brew into pudding, then he could have that. Look, we had a plan for this segment. It's completely gone haywire.
No, it's
Hartford.
Gold. This is liquid gold, like the Iron Brew.
Yeah, all right. Hartford 3-2 over. I can't. Sacramento.
That's what I did there.
Yeah, we're staying East centric here, so we'll mention Sacramento here in a couple minutes. They sweep the back-to-back, the Jaeger, and then the regular season. It's Anderson and Michi and Galena. In the first half, Jack Gurr scores right before halftime. Dominic Vonner scores right out of halftime, so we are at 2-2. And then Jonathan Jimenez wins the thing. Sacramento had 60% of the ball. They had 20 shots in 90 minutes. But Hartford are now in position to go to St. Pete on Saturday, win the game, and secure a home game in the playoffs.
Dear Lord.
They have a trophy, and they're about to play at home. Why do I say that? You go, the numbers don't number. The Loudoun and North Carolina play each other on the last day.
Yeah.
So someone's going to have to drop points there.
Yeah.
Unbelievably, Hartford, with a week to go, is about to secure a top 4 spot potentially.
I would say, number one, regardless of how this finishes, I want to be clear so that people can call me out later if I backtrack. I said from the get-go, I never thought that they were going to be able to do the Colorado Springs and the Sac and the Oakland and do all of this and be able to maintain form. Didn't see it. 2 games to go, and that 6 points is massive, especially from how tight the Eastern Conference is, because, yeah, you could drop down and finish in, 6-7, and you could also jump into the top 4. So it is a big change. It's incredible, man. The run and gun is not – they're not a one-trick pony, man. Defensively, they've been better. I was impressed in this game. I'm going to say character, but not because of the fact that they conceded 2, but because they scored 1, they scored 2, they kept opening themselves up, Sac worked themselves back in, even with the chances, even with the goals. Prior to that, Sac had the better run of play. The ball by Marlon Harrison, by the way, on the opening goal is absurd on the assist. And they just kept going. And they started to get bodied all over the field. Probably should have been 3-2. Lewis Jameson's shot has still not dropped off the monorail that he put it into in the start of the second half. It was so bad. But probably should have been 3-2. And this team just didn't die, man. Like, is it not the personification of Brendan Burke, man, if you know him? Like, the dude just keeps going, man. And I'm going to add some color in the politest of ways, but my words, not his. Screw this. Get out of my way. F that. We're not dealing with it. Like, no matter what, get out of our way. We're coming. And they've stayed true to themselves. I give them a ton of credit. I don't care how the season finishes. You want it to get better, and you want to see them keep going. But the entire turnaround of the organization is attributed to one person. It's Brendan Burke. They didn't have a clue of what they were doing beforehand, and if he wasn't there now, they still wouldn't have a clue. And all of the players that he has given the opportunity to succeed. They've been amazing. Credit to every single player in that dressing room. But Brendan Burke's understanding of this league and the individuals he's bringing in on how to show them the path to achieve success and then for them to go get it. It's been really fun to watch.
All right, let's ride through the rest of the East here. Loudoun beat Detroit. That secures their first playoff berth. Congratulations to Ryan Martin, both the incoming and outgoing manager of his own team. We've talked about all the reporting on that. What the hell are you doing? They held Detroit without a single shot on target, and then get a Riley Bidwah 90-plus one-game winner, which, if you know the back dealings for Riley Bidwah, that must feel pretty darn good. They said fourth, win in the finale against North Carolina guarantees no worse than fifth. Fourth, if Pittsburgh dropped points against either Monterey or Phoenix. North Carolina, they fall 2-0 to Phoenix on Friday. We'll speak about it more for the Phoenix end in a bit, but North Carolina dropped down to fifth. Out-of-home playoff position. What are they? Goals for, goal against. Equilibrium, 39-4, 39 conceded. Pittsburgh, they get a bounce under Rob Vincent, club legend. Griffin, Suber score, Musa late, proves academic against Indy. They sit sixth, 2 wins against Monterey and Phoenix, max 46. They could still finish third. They clinch with a winner or draw in the final 2 games by virtue of the head-to-head with Detroit. Rhode Island, they take Tampa Bay to the woodshed, 5-0. Williams scores twice. Fuson, Dequa, Rodriguez. This was the dream when you built the thing. Most efficient offensive performance outside of maybe at Louisville last year that you've had in 2 years. Devin, I'm just going to lay it out to you. This could be yes or no. Are they a threat now? 5 unbeaten, somewhat lackluster competition, but over the course of the year, wins against North Carolina, Detroit, Charleston, Indy, and they only lost to Louisville 2 separate occasions by 1 goal.
No.
All right.
I can give you more if you want it.
30 seconds.
Great. No, because of the lackluster competition, Tampa Bay Rowdies have kept 2 clean sheets under Dom Casciato, one of which was impressive against a Hartford Athletic. They can't defend for their lives right now. They're starting to score and play well together correctly. Still haven't seen anywhere near a half 45 minutes of a performance for Rhode Island against quality competition, yet alone a full 90. They've stumbled into results. The most important thing for them, they're not going to care about, my opinion, and that's totally fine. They're going to care about what's going on in that dressing room, the fact that they've got a little bit of belief and some momentum coming down the stretch, but there's nothing that scares me about that team.
All right.
And I hope they use that as bulletin board material to go get a result. Good for them. Prove me wrong.
Knowing them, they will.
Sure.
Playoff picture, here we go, in the East. Clinched, Louisville, Charleston, Hartford, North Carolina, Pittsburgh. Set seeds 1 and 2, Louisville, Charleston. Battle for the home playoff realistically, Hartford, Loudoun, North Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Rhode Island technically could. In the hunt, this is really your playoff line. Rhode Island, Detroit, Indy at 32 is 3 out. Tampa Bay is 5 out. Before we go to break, Birmingham and Miami are eliminated. Sorry. Indy could do the craziest thing, and here's why. They finish after everybody else, 10 p.m. next Saturday in Orange County. If they upset Loudoun at home, they'll know exactly what they need. They do not have tiebreakers on Detroit or Tampa Bay. Here's the rowdy part of this. They finish with Detroit. If they can upset Hartford and Detroit loses in Charleston this weekend, watch the hell out. Detroit scrapes a draw against Charleston. Tampa Bay would need to win by 3. Okay. Because of the 2-0 loss in August head-to-head.
Is this a GoFundMe conspiracy theory for Lee Cohen?
Here we go. They'd also need Indy to fail to hit 37. But if the Rowdies win both, and Detroit lose to Charleston, which some would argue is likely. All they need to do is win on the last day. Lee, you need to do the Rowdies a favor this weekend.
Oh, I'm going to that building that was going to be the final in 2020 when Neil Collins was sick, and he was going to watch it up there. And I want to watch the results from there with an iron brew in hand and watch the Eastern Conference burn.
All right, when we come back, we'll see if the West is on fire or not. This is USL All Access.
Giving insight to all the biggest moments in Championship and League One. This is USL All Access on SiriusXM FC with Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
Welcome back, everybody. USL All Access. We're getting you ready for playoffs, which are only about 2.5 weeks away.
Playoffs?
If you can believe it. Playoffs.
Yeah.
Talked about the East. Miss a part of the show available tomorrow on the USL YouTube page as well as the SiriusXM app. Let's chat about the West. Tulsa, we mentioned earlier, number 1 seed. They beat San Antonio. They hold the tiebreaker over Sacramento. Signed, sealed, delivered. Congrats to them. The playoffs will run through One Oak. Then you get further down. Sacramento gets punked by Hartford twice in a week. They lose the trophy in Jaeger Cup. Then they lose their shot at the 1 seed. Realistically, they're now battling with New Mexico for the number 2 is probably how this works out. All the while, New Mexico and Orange County go toe-to-toe. It is a 6-goal, 3-3 thriller, Traeger brace, bookending, a Greg Hurst brace, all inside 40 minutes. Stephen Kelly scores before halftime, so Kip Keller scores almost immediately out. The match was awesome. New Mexico on 44 in third, Sacramento on 44 with a game in hand. Both now control destiny for a top 3 seed. With a win in their final 2 games. In New Mexico's case, it would be a guaranteed stretch if they get that home game of 5 in 6 at the Lab, including the quarterfinal. Not bad.
No, not bad whatsoever. I think you and I were very taken in the opening portion of the game against Lexington about how well that they played but didn't really adapt.
What happened after that, Devin?
Well, that's what I was just going to say. The inability to adapt against a 10-man Lexington team, and we'll get to Lexington in a second and the troubles that are there, is sort of what their MO had been up until that point. They felt better now. I think physically they've become more demanding. They're more organized. And within that, better ball movement, better decision-making. I still want them to be more proactive. They seem like that whole conversation we have on air when I'm like, play 5 balls when you don't need 10. Play 3 balls when you don't need 5. I still see too many touches unnecessarily. And within the clean decision-making, I want to transfer over to Sacramento now. Neil's got to get this back line on track, man. Neil Collins, head coach. Their transitional defending, and specifically the reactions by the center backs, if they sit 2 or 3, has to be better. The communication is off. Only 1 shutout in the last no clean sheets in the last 4, 1 shutout in the last 6. That's cup competition included. They are too spread out. And as good as they've become going forward, I've become very impressed. The seams that they'd open and the decision-making coming off the back line has become too lackluster. If Kleeman steps, the holes aren't getting closed down, the midfield is not rotating back out, and it is allowing opponents to absolutely obliterate them in transition. Transition doesn't have to be 70 yards. It can be a high back line just inside the front, just inside the center circle, Mike. And because of the poor decision-making in those back 3, it's getting them into trouble. That is the only area I'm concerned about for this team. Danny Vitiello can only do so much back there. The back line's getting him in trouble.
Let's continue looking around the Western Conference here, and here's where it gets a little crazy, right? It feels like the top 3 is in a really good spot. Then you still have a home playoff game to figure out, and then there's the rest of the playoff field. El Paso wins a critical game in Lexington despite being outshot by a margin of 3 times. Diaz in the 9th, Avila in the 31st. Burke scores in the 55th for Lexington. El Paso leaps over Lexington and a few other teams into 4th place. They are on 40 points. What is El Paso at this stage?
Can we use the Brendan Burke quote?
Is it?
They're a wet, unmitigated disaster.
Oh, That wasn't the quote I thought you were going to use.
What were you going with?
Score 100, concede 99. And at the beginning of the year, that was about right. I think that's
I
largely
don't.
shifted
I'm not.
off.
I'm not confident in their attack enough anymore. They're more of a one-trick pony now. I'm not confident in their attack. I don't think they're deep enough, number one, in their rotation. And defensively, they're certainly not good enough. They are willing to open themselves up and chase games, but within that, there's no recovery in there. There's inexperience in players. You have inconsistency on the front line. The width, to me, can be your biggest asset, but also your biggest compliment to an opponent of going, hey, go, just step in behind us. I don't like the way that they rotate when they start to cover space. Near side, it's like little kids chasing a ball when they're 5 years old. They're like little bumblebees, and just as they go defensively, they all converge on one spot. Thanks, here's a 5-yard ball. Work your way out, and you go. They're inconsistent. You want a better word for that?
No, I think that works. The bumblebee thing, I got a kick out of.
That's really gonna sting you in 2 years when he decides to play football over foosball.
Got it.
You gonna put a helmet on him at 24 months old?
I don't make that call.
Is he gonna play? Is he gonna play football like that? Do the viewers know? Do the listeners know that you are a stud on the football field?
Stud. Vital to understand. At no point have I ever suggested I was a good football player. Never.
I did.
You did.
For people that don't know, Watts had to go through a bulking up phase, specifically coleslaw into his daily regimen.
Yeah, that's why I'm overweight. All right. San Antonio. See, I don't even have a way to turn off that. San Antonio, they lose to Tulsa. It leaves them in 5th. They do have a game in hand because of the Jägermeister Cup match that got rescheduled a couple months ago. Guaranteed they will be in the top 4 if they win out. They have to go to Orange County this week, at Phoenix on the weekend. They finish at home with El Paso. So they could own the tiebreaker by the end of that, and they would, in the process, jump El Paso if they can win either of the first 2 and the head-to-head. So there's San Antonio's path forward. Phoenix win in North Carolina 2-0 on Friday. Mentioned this in relation to NCFC earlier. Dennis and Smith score. North Carolina limited to just 1 shot on target. Phoenix moves to 6 on 36. Their max is 42. It almost assures they can't catch any of the top 3. They probably, it would take losses plus a draw between El Paso and San Antonio. It's a weird one.
Doesn't matter if Phoenix catch anyone in there. They don't care.
They're not going to the top 4.
No.
What do you like about do you like their odds to go on the road and spring an upset?
Yes, them and Colorado Springs. I also wouldn't be surprised if either one of them lost 2 or 3-0 in the opening round game.
Right.
I like Phoenix's. They are a character team. Pa Moduka put them in. They're inconsistent because they're young, and they make poor decisions that get themselves into trouble. Very rarely do I walk away from a Phoenix Rising game thinking, wow, that team really got outplayed. Very rarely do I walk away going, man, they beat the living you-know-what out of them. I do believe they played extremely well on the weekend against North Carolina. Aggressive from the get-go, played well in transition, good utilization on diagonals, commitment to numbers inside the box, good from set pieces, quality organization on defending. That was as complete as a performance as I've seen in quite some time from Phoenix. But we don't get that normally. There was the stretch of, 5 games running where they produced at least 2 goals each in a game. It might have even been 3. Nicholas Murray, relax. I'm sorry I don't have the stats in front of me, but that's where how crazy it was. So, yeah, it was 3-3, 4-4, 2-2, 3-3, all comebacks, all letdowns, and that team chip at a chair. All they need is an opportunity. That's what Phoenix is. San Antonio needs an attack. The conversation about San Antonio got better offensively as Luis Paredes started to feel rhythm within this group. He goes down with the knee injury. He's done for the year. They've never recovered since then. Tell me this. When we were back there, April 6th, did I not say that even with their quality start, record tying in some numbers, did I not say they needed to figure out their attack out, and we are still having the same conversation 6 months later? Did I say it?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
And the thing they kept saying was, wait till you see Paredes. And he got it right until he got injured.
And there's talent there, but they can't figure it out. And the fear is going to be that they're not going to figure it out. But again, from San Antonio in 5th all the way down to 12th, overlapping games, 40 matches over the last 5 for each, there's 6 wins. Nobody can figure themselves out there. It's an absolute mess.
Nope. Lexington, you mentioned earlier, lost El Paso. That's the difference between 38 points and 4th in the West, home game, and 35 points and 7th place.
Unreal.
They lose control of a top 5 opportunity. They finish home Sacramento at Oakland.
Great.
Not straightforward.
It's not ideal.
Not ideal. Now
Peter Wilson can spit from the parking lot and produce a hat trick right now. So
yeah, Oakland might be dead by then, but I don't love that.
Really simple for Lexington. This is exactly what's going on in the dressing room right now with Terry Boss. You guys got to be better defensively. Set pieces and marking. Crap. That's all it is. They're producing enough on the attacking side. They've got enough chances. They've had bad luck. They've hit the post. Injuries, red cards. Sure, you could talk about behavior, even though the Phantom one in New Mexico, I still don't believe was a red card. But you got to be better defensively. You're gifting teams goals right now.
And then Colorado Springs right at the line. They get, as mentioned, murked by Charleston 5-0. 5 Goose. Leaves them in 8th, not in control of their destiny because Orange County has a game in hand. They finish at Charleston, home Las Vegas, at Tulsa. No 6-pointers. Probably need to win the Vegas game, period. Then they probably need a result against Charleston or Tulsa away.
It's the laugh.
Those 2 teams, are 19, 3 losses, 4 draws at home this year.
Do we have any? Do we lean on that final game at Tulsa and the fact that
they may not need anything?
And they won't need anything. They're the one in the West.
They don't.
Do you
really want to let Colorado Springs, the reigning champ, off the mat, who you could see the next week in an 8-1 game? I highly doubt that.
No, and I still think
stab them in the heart right now.
Oh my God, what they can 100% and what they can do still.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're unhealthy, they get in their own way, but like that team can still beat any team in this league.
Yep,
it's crazy the amount of talent that they have, which is also the more ridiculous that they're in this spot.
Yep. Vegas is done. Yeah, Vegas is out. 2-2 draw against Oakland. Johnny Rodriguez scores against his former club. Danny Trejo scores against his former club. Wilson and Stojanovic haven't played for anybody else, but damn it, they scored again. Stojanovic's equalizer at 87 to secure a 2-2 draw. Here's the larger playoff picture with all that in mind. Tulsa, Sacramento, New Mexico in. El Paso is very practically in. I don't know if they've officially done the math out. Tulsa is first. Everything else is still up for grabs seeding-wise. The battle for home playoffs, Tulsa, as mentioned, will host throughout. Sacramento, 44 with 3 to play. New Mexico, 44 at Sacramento's to lose the 2 seed. New Mexico at 44. El Paso at 40. San Antonio at 37 with 3 to play. San Antonio could go up there and catch it. More likely they have a chance to catch El Paso, as mentioned earlier. In the hunt, Phoenix has an very outside chance of going out and grabbing a home playoff game. But more likely, they're battling at the line, and here's why. Lexington 35, Colorado Springs 34 within a game. Orange County at 32 within 2 games, but they have the extra game left to play. Monterey Bay and Oakland are practically out. And Vegas, as mentioned, eliminated. What a difference a year makes. Remember when Las Vegas was there? Remember this? And now they're the first eliminated? Life comes at you fast. When we come back, happy trails to one of our favorites and a look around the league.
You're listening to USL All Access on SiriusXM FC. Here are your hosts, Mike Watts and Devon Kerr.
Welcome back, everyone. USL All Access on this Tuesday night. keep your ear out, your eye out. Coming up Sunday, USL on CBS Sports Network and right here on the channel. New Mexico and Oakland, 5 p.m. Eastern time. Oakland needs it. New Mexico for home field definitely needs it. Elsewhere, notably, Orange County and Louisville on Golazo Network, Charleston and Detroit on Golazo Network on Friday night. Lexington, Sacramento is a big one on the Golazo Network. Dev Happy Trails, one of our favorites. Kalen Ryden retiring at the end of the year. 247 games in regular season playoff, champion at Real Monarchs. Peter Trevisani's quote, "A captain, a competitor, a true friend to everyone in the organization. He has been the soul of this team."
What a run it was, by the way, back in 2019. It was Jacksonville. It was the RSO organization on loan with the Monarchs to sort of reignite his career. Used to call him the Golden Helmet based upon how well he was playing from set pieces, the goals that he scored that year, and into postseason play, hoisting a title that made him one of the made men in New Mexico. He has held the flag. He has been the standard bearer for that team, certainly for this league. I wish him nothing but the best. Certainly want him to get healthy, and I'm sure he's going to love, quote-unquote, retirement. He and his wife, their beautiful family, and all of his great fun antics that are usually with the camera sharing the world in the public eye.
Devin, did you learn anything?
I learned it was possible for us to, in fact, stay on topic and stay on format and stay on time.
Okay.
And I could lie straight to your face.
We did not stay on time. For Devin, Emmett, Mike, we'll talk to you again next Tuesday night. So long, everybody. Enjoy the weekend.
This is USL All Access. If you missed any portion of the program, listen back anytime on the SXM app.